Hey everyone, Carolina Venom here. A while back, I done an intro video on the first generation Moto E on Cricket Wireless, and I kind of forgot about this phone until I happened to stumble across it the other day, and I decided to go ahead and do my full review on it. It won't be too awful long. I know this phone's kind of outdated. The second gen Moto E is out now. But there is some things about this phone that I like more than, other phones I've used, and I will get into that here in a little bit. But I'm gonna give you the specs of the phone again, run a few tests, and just give you the my honest opinion about the first generation Moto E. This phone runs Android 4.4.4. It is splash resistant. It does have a 4.3-inch display at 540 by 960 resolution at 256 pixels per inch. It does have scratch resistant glass with cornering Gorilla Glass 3. It does have a 5 megapixel camera on the rear, and it has a number of features like geotagging, HDR, panorama, stuff like that. Camcorder records at a max 854 by 480 resolution at 30 frames per second, and you can take pictures while video recording. This phone does not have a front-facing camera, unfortunately. This phone runs a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core, 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon 200 processor with an Adreno 302 GPU with 1 gigabyte of RAM with 4 gigs of built-in storage with around 2.2 gigs available to user, and it will support up to a 32 gigabyte micro SD card. It's got a 1980 milliamp hour battery, and that's really all the information that I do have. This phone is not LTE. It does have HSPA Plus, 4G, for Cricket, and all that good stuff. So it's really not got the full LTE, but this phone does seem to do pretty well and everything else. So I'm going to take you around the phone here and kind of go through some things. Up top here, you do have your ear speaker. On the bottom, you have your speakerphone and music speaker. On the bottom, micro USB charging port. On the right side, you have your volume rocker and your volume rocker here and your power button there. On top is your 3.5 millimeter headset jack, and that's either a noise cancellation mic or it is a mic for recording video. On this side here is smooth. It's got a curved look to it, and it feels really good in the hand. On the back, you just had the Motorola logo and a camera, and that's it. No flash or nothing else. As I made mention, it has no front-facing camera. So, this is kind of a budget, low-end device, but it does work very well. So we'll go ahead and power the phone on here. We'll go ahead, and you see here, it is on Cricket. And the screen does look pretty nice. It's a little pixelated, of course, but overall, it does look good, and, it don't look too bad. As long as you can get the phone really bogged down a whole lot, the phone does seem to run pretty smooth. I have had some hiccups, when it's really bogged down, using a lot of apps and stuff like that. But for the most part, for the processor that it runs, it does seem to run pretty smooth. One of the things about this phone that I like the best is the front speaker. It is very loud. I tried watching a video on YouTube earlier, and I tried using my Aquos Crystal, too quiet. I tried using other phones, too quiet. This one right here really woke it up, and I was able to hear nice and clear. So the front speaker does put out some very good volumes. Ringtones are loud, and it is nice to be able to sit here with the phone facing down like this here, with the front facing up, and be able to hear the phone actually ring whenever it rings. Even at like half volume, it does have pretty good output and everything else. You can buy this phone right now. Of course, prices do vary, and everything. But I purchased this here last year at Walmart for $49.99. Like I said, it's the first generation Moto E on Cricket Wireless, and it's really a good phone. You know, if you can do without LTE, you know, of course with Cricket on HSPA Plus, their max download speeds are 4 megabits per second. I have had between 3 to 4 on average, and upload speeds are between 1.5 and maybe 2 megabits upload. But I have actually watched YouTube videos only, you know, on HSPA Plus, and I've not had any problems buffering, as long as I am, you know, in a good service area. So an LTE is max 8 megabits per second download. I have reached 9, possibly 10 at times on other devices with LTE with Cricket. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I'm going to go ahead right now and just kind of go over some more benchmark tests that I ran. I don't really, you know, go by benchmark tests a lot. I just run them to kind of give you an idea of how it looks and or how it runs and everything. So we'll look at Antutu first, and it came in at 13,810, which is pretty low. But we'll go in here and we'll kind of show you some of the specs and performance. And general performance came in pretty poor, 40% of other devices. Game performance was the same. Poor performance, and battery life was average. And this battery life has actually been pretty good. I don't really have much issue with battery life. So going to Quadrant here, this one ran 5,101 with a CPU of 16,358. So, you know, not the fastest phone in the world, but for really what you're paying for the phone, you know, $50 for this phone. This phone is available sale at Walmart all day long. You can buy them online at walmart.com. And if you want just a, you know, a smaller phone, 4.3-inch screen, you know, this phone does work well. It's very responsive. Going to the messaging app here, I really like the keyboard. Keyboard is very easy to type on, and everything else. So it's just really, to me, I've not had any issues. You know, autocorrect is good. If you hold down the 1, 2, 3 here, well, I thought that it gave you an option for emojis, but it really don't. So you can, of course, download, you know, emojis from the App Store to use for texting, because I don't really see it on this device. But, you know, all in all, this phone here runs very smooth. I'm not sure if it will get Android 5.5.0 Lollipop. I kind of doubt it. I have seen some sites that says it will get it eventually, but then again, I've seen some that says it won't. But, you know, all in all, like I say, this is the Moto E, the first generation on Cricket, and I do highly recommend it. I mean, if you're looking for a cheap phone, hey, $50 off contract with Cricket with excellent plans, you know, and it does run smooth. There is times it does have some hiccup to it, but you know what phone don't? You know, for the price you're paying, the processor that's in it, it ain't the greatest, it ain't the worst, but like I said, it does run KitKat Android 4.4.4, and so, you know, not the latest version of Android, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about the Moto E. If I left anything out, one thing I do want to say is the back cover does come off, and under it is your micro SIM card and your micro SD card slot. Battery is non-removable, of course, but you are able to remove the back cover and everything, and it is splash resistant. And also it does have a 5 megapixel camera, and pictures are fair, not the greatest in the world, but you know, they're nice for just a quick picture here and there. But like I say, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video off here. If you got any questions or comments about the first generation Moto E, you know, I know that the second generation is out now, and it's a better phone, better processor, bigger screen, and all that good stuff. So I mean, you know, and you can buy them, you know, between $60 and $100 from what I've seen in some retail stores, and you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, there you go. But anyway, any questions or comments, please feel free to ask me. I did my best to answer them for you. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, and we'll talk to y'all later.